Gentlemen, you all know Touhou music frickin' slaps. And as a Touhou music geek whose introduction to the franchise was through these banging tunes, I thought it'd be fun to do a tier list. I'd like to do each game eventually, but first things first, the game that I started with, Touhou 6 EOSD. My teenage ass was bopping to this OST in high school, so I'm super excited to get to ramble on like an insane person about these tracks. Also, this is all my opinion. Obviously, everyone's tastes are different, but that being said, leave your favorite tracks in the comments. Let's heckin' go, gamers. Alright, so you've got your standard tier list here. Peak, A, B, C, and meh. Realistically, this is Touhou, so there won't be many tracks that are actually meh. We'll just put the ones that I like the least. So we'll just go through the game, select all the tracks, we've got the bosses, we've got all the stages, and we got the title and credits themes, because they count. Alright, so starting off, we've got the title theme of the game. This was the first title theme I heard, and immediately, it just sounded so interesting. There's just so much happening in each ear. Got all these guitar instruments, and then suddenly this brass comes in. It's really crazy. But the melody is so well constructed. It's very simple. The great thing about Zun's melodies is a lot of them are very simple, and this one definitely captures that simple but effective essence. Obviously, we've got the theme of Eastern Story motif popping up in the piano. I always used to love the more simple renditions of theme of Eastern Story, and the way they weave it into the new melody that he's created. Great thing about EOSD's soundtrack is the mixing is also absolutely fire. This original period had really good sound mixing for the instruments and stuff, and that bass is just bumping. I mean, you can hear it super fast. Overall, a super hummable theme, and really gets you pumped for the game. I almost wish it was longer, you know, that main loop, that main melody. Great for energy, great track. I would probably put it, probably at B tier. It's a good track, but it still is rather basic. Obviously, it's the title theme. It's not going to be the frickin' Mona Lisa here. Alright, now we're on to the Stage 1 theme. This is probably the very first stage theme most Touhou players heard ever, as EOSD was like your introductory game. But this track is great. It's really bouncy. Bouncy feeling kind of compels you along, and the Zun pit is super compressed. I really like that. And they add like a breathy synth flute on the top. It's barely audible, but it really adds so much to the sound. There's also like this little guitar in the right hand ear. It just sounds so nice. That's the one thing I really like about early Zun compositions, is he uses the SD90. All the instruments on there sound super fresh, if that's the best word to describe it. There's just a quality to them that really stands out amongst the Touhou catalog. I really like the piano solo in the bridge here. It goes absolutely nuts, it's crazy, listen to that. The melody is also really great. I don't think there's too much I can say on it. It's a classic Zun pit melody. It sounds super Touhou, perfect for Stage 1. Overall, I'd probably put Stage 1 I'd probably put Stage 1 in B tier too. It's another solid theme. It's not forgettable by any means, but it's obviously not the best Zun can do. I think that'll be apparent as the game goes on. Fantastic job, Rumia. Well done. Very pog. Alright, time for Rumia's theme. Uh-oh, look at her, she's going in. I mean, listen to that synth. You don't really hear anything like that in modern Touhou these days. And then the xylophone comes in with the bass guitar in the back. Zun was using like a slap bass here, and it just sounds so raw. The pan flute is a really fun addition. It comes to the forefront and just kind of jiggles around. But it really adds to the playful vibe of Rumia just kind of beating you up. It's super fun. There's something about Zun's earlier melodies that just kind of go against traditional music theory. Like for the majority they follow 4/4 time, but a lot of the time they kind of stray outwards and do sort of fun triplet note things. And I really like that about early Zun tracks. This is another great one. In terms of boss themes, I'm not sure it's the strongest. It's definitely really good and has some fun qualities, but I'd argue there's better boss themes in this game. Overall, lots of fun, very energetic. I mean, it makes me want to get out of my seat and start boogieing, you know? But honestly, I do like it a little less than her stage theme. If it was a little longer, maybe I'd like it more. C tier. Alright, Stage 2, baby. Dezuyuyi comes in, Cirno's favorite little double. There's a lot of fun, soft drums in this, but then you've also got like Sakuya's drum set coming in, which is a fun prelude to like later in the game. It's interesting how this song has a lot of more traditional instruments. This sounds more like an oboe or something, and it's more soft and quiet, underspoken. I think that really suits the stage well. It definitely casts this harsh feeling, especially when this little mid part comes in. I think this might be when like Cirno comes in or something, and Cirno's like throwing icicles at you and it goes crazy. It repeats the same melody a fair few times. That's just to get it into your head basically. That's how Touhou works. But it doesn't add to it too much. There are some very fun flourishes every now and then. But overall, I'm not sure it's one of my favorites. I really like some of the elements in it, but I'd probably put it in meh. I know a few people are probably gonna hate me. There's a few diehard Stage 2 EOSD fans out there. I'm sorry, it's just my opinion. We still love Cirno, she's epic. Alright. Boys, this one is iconic. I mean, what else can you say about Cirno's theme that hasn't already been said 2 billion times in 70 billion other videos? She's the funny baka Cirno Fury with the blue hair and the funny dress. She's an idiot, but her song is super intelligent. The way it's composed and structured, it's just super clever. When the melody comes in, you just immediately catch on to it. It's super catchy. It's one of those melodies that really took off early. I mean, obviously, it's been parodied so many times. I said it in my 2-minute Touhou video, but there's just 4 notes, bum 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 bum. Just a super simple run up, but it really imprints on your memory fast. The drums are also really unique here. You don't really hear the specific hi-hat pattern much. I do really like when they strip it away, it's just the bass there for the turnaround. That's a lot of fun. The bass is also just 1 note the whole way, and this part is super fun. Bum 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 bum. I mean, it's an iconic song. What else can you say apart from A tier? It's just super well composed. And I think her theme gets a couple of variations later on, like there's a new melody Zun composes for her. But this one really sticks in my mind as the definitive Cirno theme. A tier. Alright, stage 3 time, boys. Shanghai Tea House. Stage 3 was always kind of a weird one for me. I don't really know how to classify it other than like misty. There's like mist everywhere and then Mei Ling just appears out of nowhere to kick your ass. I really do like the use of piano in stage 3 though. The amount of different runs and crazy melodies over top, the syncopation is just really good. And a very polyphonic piano's taking the stage at the moment, while we get similar Cirno drums but not the same. It's cool how the Zunput plays like a secondary melody here while the other one is played by a breathy flute string thing. It's just a really fun, boisterous little way of building things back up to the loop. Zuno's really clever on this one because when the notes are sustained, like they're held, he puts some little piano flourishes to keep your attention so you're not bored when the Zunput's just going brrrr. In the background, there's some piano going crazy. Fantastic job, Zun. You a real one, on guard. It's a good stage. I think it does fall flat for me though, just a little bit more forgettable than the other stage themes. While there are elements I really like of it, I just don't like it as much as Mei Ling's theme, for example. But yeah, C tier. Alright boys, Mei Ling's here. She's about to beat you up. She's about to go sicko mode on your ass. I really like how Mei Ling's whole thing is that she just beats you up, but then gets beat up by Sakuya afterwards. Super funny dynamic. The piano in the song is just insane. It goes around and around and some really cool runs, while the strings kind of jam along over top and some slow melodies. This is probably one of my favorites, like stage 3 bosses in all of Touhou. And the way the melody is like kind of stiff and rigid here, before it just goes absolutely buck wild at the second part of the melody. I love how the drums are very minimal here, letting the piano take center stage. And there's some low strings just kind of pushing along the energy a bit. And then there's the break part here, of course. It's just a really good song that paints Mei Ling as like this badass superhero who's like stopping the heroine from reaching the mansion. But then Reimu just breezes through her anyway. Really fun, high energy song. I like it, but I probably wouldn't put it in A tier. It just doesn't have that extra iconic factor. I feel like the more simplistic the theme would be, it might be higher on this list. But as it stands, B tier. I really like it. Well done, Mei Ling. Go take a rest. Alright boys, it's time for stage 4. We're in the library. Koakuma's flying around, there's books everywhere. It's going crazy, bro. I really love the dreary violins. And then the bouncy synth jumping around on the top while the main piano does its thing. I really just love the oppressive feeling you get with this. It really sets the atmosphere for this area super well. There's also like a harpsichord in the left ear, which just kind of adds arpeggios, but it really does a great job at filling the ears with delicious sound. I really love the midsection. The bass here is just super iconic. Classic Touhou pattern that we'd see a lot more later on. This is honestly one of my favorite stage themes of all time. There's just something very special about it. The regal theme is perfect with harpsichords. I mean, it really just screams, "Oh, what ho, British mansion." The drums are also very subtle here, but there's like a lot of hi-hats going on and just adds this extra tension to it. Super good at building that uneasy feeling. Really enjoy this one. I'd say it's A tier for me. One of the best. Probably one of my favorite stage 4 themes. Alright boys, time for Pachouli's theme. The Locked Girl. This little pinky pookie. This theme has always not been a huge favorite of mine. I like the melodies and I really love the old Zun elements, like those old brass instruments. The minor tone is also really appealing to me. It just sounds so sad and dreary. Perfect for Pachouli. And this chorus it almost sounds Spanish, like a tango or something, right? I do love the chords here. There's some really interesting chromaticisms going on, down and up and down and up, just really adding to an uneasy feeling. And this main chorus is pretty iconic. A lot of people do like this theme. Personally, I'm just not a massive fan of this theme. I don't know what it is about it. It's a fine theme, it just I really prefer some of the other boss themes in this game. I'm gonna put it in C tier because this chorus really kind of saves it for me. When the Zunpei comes back in, super good. So it's not bad by any means. I mean, none of these are bad. These are Touhou songs. All of these are, this is like bad proportional to the rest of Touhou music, which is like really good. Anyway, I like the theme, but don't love it. Alright, now we're getting into the fun part of the game, boys. The Maid and the Pocket Watcher Blood. This stage theme goes so hard, and super fun to play on piano. The piano just sounds so loose. It's like it's falling down a flight of stairs or something. It's really fun. And the drums really push the energy along. The bass drum really fills up the back and they spam it quite a lot, which really just adds to the energy. There's a piano solo here, which I think is really cool. It's just so specific. It's got a very sad but spastic kind of vibe to it. Like Sakuya's got some tragic past, but then she's also going nuts with the time abilities. And I love how it just keeps coming back to this piano run with the da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's just super clever in composition and structure, and the hook is juicy as hell. The way they bring it back into the chorus with some xylophone in the right ear, really good. Love it. There's some old Zun rockin' guitars here. Classic SD90 instruments that you really don't hear much outside of EOSD and like slightly later on in the classic era. I really forgot there was a second like main chorus thing here. Another super catchy and fun one with some really interesting chord progressions moving downwards. Love this theme. I would also put it in A tier. It is a very good Sakuya, very nice. Now it's time for Sakuya's theme herself. The crazy maid, the wacky time girl. She's throwing knives at you, and God does the music reflect that. It's so hectic and high energy, and there's like a menace to it. I really like how there's some strange distorted choir sound in the back in the second section while the main Night of Nights motif plays, and then there's some strange guitars that move into the awesome chorus here. It's just a lot of fun to listen to, and the way this chorus is structured is super good. There's 4 strong beats that it jumps on immediately, just kind of like attracting the listener's ear. It's just such a rockin' tune with such amazing energy. Sakuya's really given everyone a show. I think I might prefer her Touhou 9 theme though, just because of the more iconic theme that's got the actual Night of Nights theme in it. I just really adore all the classic Zun elements in this one. In terms of ranking on this chart, I don't know. I think it's really good, but it doesn't really stack up to a lot of the themes coming right after this. Those are just like absolutely killer themes in general. Really love the elements used. Chuck it in B tier. Alright boys, dude, I love this theme so much. If you guys have watched my 2-minute Touhou series, I ramble on about this thing for 3 minutes instead of 2. I just love it so much. There's such an evil atmosphere to it. Just oozing with like sadness and grief. And then you get into this really uplifting chorus with the piano. Super fun, well syncopated, great instrumentation. There's like a weird synth in the left ear that just kind of slowly drags your ear along, but then the bass guitar is like bopping around and you kind of just immediately makes your head go up and down. It's just brilliantly made, but still with this really dark air, perfect for the final stage. I just really love this theme, dude. I could talk about it for so long. It's just a perfect introduction to like Romelia and how you're in this weird like blue-black void. It's just super mysterious and the mystery only adds to it. Super fun, super mysterious theme. Probably one of my favorite Touhou songs of all time. This is my personal opinion, peak. This is some of, in my opinion, Zun's peak material. And I know a lot of people might disagree. I just think this is a really good thing, and I love it. Boys, it's time for the final battle. The final bout with Romelia. Flandre Scarlet. The Scarlet Devil herself. The Scarlet Wench. I love her pose in this EOSD sprite is just kind of like, bruh, like the Tony Stark bruh. I mean, what can you say about this theme? The fact that it takes a Beethoven melody in this first part and flips it on its head with a completely different instrumentation, some blazing energy. The drums are really good in this part, and the Zunpei just comes in as a perfect instrument for this. The energy is great, there's sort of a hectic drum beat in the back, but it really just adds to it. It kind of powers itself along. This is one of my favorite boss battle themes of all time. It's got that X factor, that iconic thing that everybody loves. And I mean, the universal acclaim for this theme is brilliant. I mean, listen to this part of the song. Ba 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 ba. The energy created by that is just, by that constant, like, consistent bass is just brilliant. And this build up, I mean, the chorus, it's peak. It's just peak. The D major chorus. So happy, but so sad when they move it down. And then they resolve it to such a nice, but also melancholic place. It's just super brilliant, super well composed. There's really nothing bad to say about it. And my favorite part is the piano solo at the very end of this chorus. Oh, I love it. It's so good. It just winds its way up and down so well. And the fun crush notes. I really got to give props to Zone for this one because how he was able to come up with such an iconic theme that really stands the test of time and doesn't get old no matter how many times you replay it is just really impressive. So, peak. It's peak. It is some of the peak. I don't know where I'd put it in terms of this. Maybe on top of, maybe slightly below, maybe slightly below Tepes just because I prefer that one as a song more. Never mind, I'll put it above Tepes. I really like this song, it's brilliant. Time for the energy to kind of simmer down a bit. We got the extra stage theme. This is always a really fun extra stage theme. It's one of my favorites, probably because it's one of the earlier ones, but also because of the way it ties so many different melodies together in a very seamless and energetic way. It just feels good to listen to, you know? There's something about it that's also got that mystery factor, which really helps with the extra stage. I love the Asian motif there. Very Touhou. There's some bendy strings in the back that just sound so nostalgic. So one thing I will say about EOSD's soundtrack is it's very nostalgic sounding. The strange, undescribable feeling of early classic Touhou games just on full display here. It's really great. The main piano run going down is super fun to play as well. The brass is just kind of goofy on the side, like beep, 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 beep. Sounds like something from Brazil or something. It's probably not my favorite extra stage theme. That kind of got outclassed in maybe like Subterranean Animism or UFO. But it is really one of my favorites, especially when this chorus comes in with the Zunpit. I mean, such drive in this chorus. There's like a low keyboard beneath that Zunpit, and that just really helps complement the sounds going on. Not one of my favorite stage themes in general. I'd probably put it in B. It's brilliant, but not my favorite in this game. Uh-oh, look out. Flandre Scarlet. Oh no, that's the Scarlet Devil, but not the Scarlet Devil, the other one. Okay, so Flandre's theme is sort of a mixed bag for me. On one hand, I marvel at how well composed it is. I mean, it's just iconic, really. The main theme is super catchy, super well structured. I'm saying super a lot in this video. The main chorus, man. I mean, it's just one of the Touhou themes. It probably is the most famous Touhou song in history. I believe it's one of the first ones that got me introduced to this franchise when watching like Ronald McDonald, Flandre, Insanity, or whatever the hell that video was called. There's a lot of brilliant memes of Flandre. And I gotta say, the drums in this theme are really unique. There's like a woodblock sound with some fun hi-hats popping over the top every now and then. And I mean, this chromatic movement in the bridge here, it's just really fun and menacing. The menace in this track is really commendable. For the amount of like playfulness it also imbues with that. It's just impressive what Zun was able to do with this really happy melody. Turn it into like an actual boss theme. And apparently that's what he does best according to his comments. It's one of the best of all time. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but it does have that iconic factor. So for me, I'd put it in A tier. Alright, so now we've got the ending theme. The game is over. It's Remilia's like doing some goofy shit to Rainbow down here. I don't know what's happening. I really like this. It's really calm and relaxing. And I didn't expect to like an ending theme as much as the themes in the game, but I like this almost as much as some of the mid-level songs in this tier list. The melody is super sad, and it's one that really stuck in my mind. I remember a couple of years ago, it just reappeared in my mind for whatever reason, and I had no idea what it was, this specific melody, and I couldn't find it. The da-da-na-na-na. So I started an exhaustive search to figure out what that melody was, and it eventually led me back to this, and I was like, of course, duh. It's one of the best. It's one of the classics. But yeah, I really like this theme. Super calming, but super sad at the same time, depending on what ending you got, I guess. I'd probably put it in B. It's great. I like it. Now the credits theme. This is another one where the melody itself, for some reason it's a credits theme, I know, but the melody is just really, it really stands out to me. And it's one that I occasionally find myself humming whenever I've gone back and listened to EOSD. The instrumentation is also really interesting, really ethereal. The drums are really subdued, but also there's like a xylophone. It's more energetic and playful than I thought a credits theme would be. But I think that just kind of adds to the sort of victory feeling you get when beating the game. You know, seeing all the developers scroll past, you're like, yay, I did it. Now I can celebrate with this epic theme. I don't know, it's just really fun. It makes me happy. It puts a smile on my face. It's up there. It's definitely up there. I don't know. I might put it B tier. A lot of things in B tier. Big B tier. Alright, gentlemen. So this is the tier list. This is the end. This is all my opinion. This is what I think of EOSD's soundtrack. A lot of really good tracks from this game. I found myself enjoying a lot of the more obscure themes more than I thought on re-listen. But let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what your favorite themes are from this game. I'd definitely love to hear that. And it'd be really fun to continue on and do like Touhou 7, Touhou 8 next. Let me know if you want to see that. But yeah, thanks for watching everybody. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.